Welcome back to the Brook Homestead. My name is Matt and I take care of our animals here. We have chickens, rabbits, ducks, and a turkey. I'm going to go around and show you how we maintain everything. Again, we are super broke, so everything that we built back here is either made with materials that we already had, materials that we brought with us, or just things that were given to us for free, or that we found here already on the property. So I have about, let's see, 3 hens that are adults and laying age. I have about 14 or 16 young chickens that are not at laying age yet. We just had a clutch of ducklings that hatched, and I have Muscovy ducks. I have 2 drakes and 2 hens, and the 1 turkey, and I have 3 does, rabbits, a couple of kits that they had from the last litter, and 2 bucks. So let's go around and I will show you all those little critters. This is Henrietta. She's my favorite chicken. So all the ducklings. They have not been fed this morning, so they're a little ornery and demanding their food. So this is the entryway into our bird area. So this is one of the tool shelters that I put up when we first moved here. And again, all of these materials, all the wood is wood that we brought with us. The sides are plywood that we brought with us, and you'll see there's tin, like the sides of a shed here. Those were from a shed that was dilapidated and falling down on the property when we bought it. So I took it apart, used that material. That green fencing is I'm probably going to use for the floor, for wire cover to keep the rabbits from digging when I build them a bigger pen. You can see 2 cages there. Those were also given to us by our neighbors. I haven't cleaned them out yet. I haven't needed to use them yet. The plan is to use those to transport chickens, maybe if we take them to auction or something. There's also a cat carrier down there. We got our bins over here. That is rabbit food. And you'll see to the left is the upside down bin. That one's empty. And I keep all the feed bags and repurpose them for different projects and different things. And I'll show you some of that when we get around to it. Let's see, I think, what else do we have here? So this is also doubles as my butcher station. I do harvest some of my animals, the rabbits mainly. I did some meat birds recently, and I made a video about that. You'll see here I got my nooses. I just hang them by their feet here and work on them. And yeah, it's a little messy, but it's the station I got so far right now. What I would like to do is eventually have a table of sorts here that I can work on, and a better spot for hanging them so they're not, dripping on the shed that I built. Okay, here's our rabbits. These are does. As you can see, I do not keep them in cages. I don't like the idea of keeping your animal in a small, 30 by 30 cage or something. Here, both sides are 10 feet by 10 feet, approximately. I use deep litter on the ground for them. That way we can get more compost and manure once or twice a year when I clean it out. I recently did that. I'll maybe post another video about that at some point. We have 2 kits that made it. I've had trouble getting successful litters here since we moved here. I've lost several rabbits for different reasons. Some of them drowned in the rain. Some of them just for whatever reason didn't make it. Maybe it was too hot in the nesting box that I tried putting in for them. I've tried a few different methods. Going back to one method that I know works, and that is using this nesting box here. As you can see, it's got the side so the kits can't jump out until they're old enough. However, what I did when I had that successful litter was I used that box, and I used, hi chicken, and I used this birthing cage around them. There's no bottom. So I used to have some wire down there, and I had the cage on top of it with the nesting box in it. I tried moving all the rabbits into one pen just to simplify things. Obviously it's not working out because I've lost a couple of litters. So I'm going to go back to this method for the next litter that I'm attempting. I have one that should be pregnant now. That would be Hazel, whom I've had since I started doing rabbits, about 2.5, 3, I guess it's going on 4 years now. So that's Hazel, one of my oldest rabbits, those that I've had since I started doing rabbits about 3 or 4 years ago. And then we have one of these is called Stella, but I can't tell anymore which one because they're both black and they're both about the same size now. My bucks, I have Thunder. He's also been around since I first started doing rabbits. He's the first buck I ever had. Behind him, there we have, this is Chunk. Chunk is called Chunk because he was actually the runt of one of the first litters I had, and he was a chubby little runt, and his coloring is very pretty, and we just grew attached to him. We could not sell him or eat him or anything like that, so we kept him, and I've been trying to breed him to get that coloring with Hazel, but so far the litters that I did with him have not been successful. So hopefully with fixing that birthing cage, that won't be an issue in the future. Hi, Henrietta. Henrietta here came to say hi. Got birdie bird. So the way I have the rabbits set up, I have the girls and grow outs on one side. My plan is not to leave them this way. My plan is actually to build another enclosure. I have a couple of flags still up. You can see an orange flag over there. There used to be an orange flag over hereabouts, and some more flags going that way. What I've done in the past and what I plan to do here in the future is have a large pen to put grow outs in until it is time to harvest them, while keeping a birthing cage with a nest box for the active litter, an open enclosure for the does to live in when they're not getting ready to give birth, and both of the bucks have the same square footage as the does but split in half. Again, this is just the way I set it up when I built it because it was all in a rush with limited resources, limited materials. So I could only build one hut for them, which they split and share. And that led to having to split the boys' pen. Instead of making it squared like this and splitting it here, it's split diagonally here so that they each have space and they each have access to under the shelter. Eventually, what I would like to do here, it's going to take some time, is I want to build an overhang that comes out over the rabbits and comes down about where this unused satellite dish is. It's another project for me. I plan on taking that out. Have it be open on this end, open on the other end for airflow, and have, I haven't decided here, maybe some sort of soft wall, like roll insulation or something that I can have up in the summer, and then in the winters put it down to protect them with weather and rain. Possibly canvas, something like that. And then the grow out pen will have its own shelter. I will not be putting a full canopy over it because it's going to be a large area. Okay, these are the birds, one of the birds' watering areas. You can see the flat dish is empty. It's because I filled it up, was it yesterday during the day, and it's been rather warm. That's for the ducklings and chicks, so they're small birds that we have at times to be able to get in the water. Ducks love water. This is what I have for them right now. I used to have a pond back in Oregon, but I've not had time or the resources to put anything in like that here yet. They do use these, they go in there, they bathe and wash. They don't have to have a whole giant pond access to them. They just like to get wet their beaks. They do have to have access to water because they need to put water in their mouth and wet their sinuses. And they need water to eat. They do not make their own saliva. Ducks don't, or birds, I think, in general don't. So they need their water. They need access to water. And like I said, they do go in there at times and splash around and whatnot. I had this kiddie pool for them here, and I do sometimes fill it up for the ducks, but it's been damaged, and the problem is ducks are very messy. So if I fill this up for them, within a couple of days it turns into really nasty, smelly, dirty water, and I have to either change it out or dump it out and not fill it up again for a little bit. So I do that for them sometimes, but not all the time, because it's frankly it's kind of a pain to come out and change the water every couple of days on that thing because it's so heavy. And that's what led to it developing a small leak, because it bends every time I go to empty it. So instead, what I have here is this small little ditch. The pipe that comes out here, that is the drain pipe for the air conditioning unit. So whenever we run the air conditioner, condensation comes out and dumps into there, and it's clean because it's condensation water. I also fill it up. We don't run the AC every day. It gets expensive. So I do come out here and I fill it up with hose. And I usually put more water in there, all the way up to about there, and that makes it so it lasts all day. The fact that it soaks or evaporates into the ground, that keeps it from getting smelly. So that's the other thing to have for water. Walk back here, that's an old water heater that I had to replace in the house. And you can see their trail that goes back here. This is the chicken coop. Again, this is a building that was already on the property when we got here. And it needs a lot of work. It is not my top priority, but it is something obviously that I want to repair. It has a tarp on top of it as well as a piece of canvas. The roof has a hole in it. I'll go show you in a minute. You can see the other hole on the side of the wall there. The floor is pretty much gone. But that's not a big deal because I usually do deep litter anyways. So as you can see, there's a lot of straw in there already. I used branches to make roosts for them. Again, just trying to save money. I know it's messy in there, but it's a chicken coop. What do you do? I clean it out regularly, but they poop everywhere. So I use these branches from around the trees on the property, stack them up in a way that they can climb up there. This is for them to climb up, and they do. I watch them do it, and then they sit up there. A lot of them, you can tell, spend their time at the tallest part of the roost over there, and they don't use this side as much. Before I rearranged these, they were spending a lot of time over here in the corner. You can see they do need more straw in here. I need to get more straw and put it in here. This I'm going to try to use as a little nesting thing. I'm going to fill it up with straw. I saw someone using tires to do this, so I thought that was a great idea. And I found this laying around on the property, so why not give it a shot? I'm going to try putting straw in there for them. You can see they like to lay eggs back there. That's where the ducklings were born. They tend, unfortunately, to lay eggs back there too, which is right underneath where they like to hang out. So I'm going to see if I can figure out a way to discourage that. This was another duck nest here. And here you can see there's a critter or something that made a hole. I'm not sure what's down there. It's a little concerning, so I'm gonna have to look into that. I have this board here that I put up also temporarily. I could secure it maybe, just to keep the straw from falling out. When I first put straw in here, they were just, as you can see, the straws that coming out. They kicked a lot of it all the way out. So I put that board up there. I need to secure it better. Here's the hole in the roof I mentioned. It's got a piece of tarp over it. Still leaks a little bit. I realize all of this is going to need to be replaced. The whole roof needs to be replaced, and when I do, maybe I'll extend it and make the shed longer too. That would actually be a pretty good idea. Make it about twice as big, so the birds can have more room in here and I can have more room in here to work. I did install a light in here. This light bulb, the light bulb we purchased obviously, but the base was actually given to us for free by a neighbor when I was building the other little tool shed. So this connection here is better than it looks. It looks like I just kind of threw some tape over it, and that would be kind of a risky way to do it. So this is actually, the two wires are individually soldered and then individually sealed with a heat shrink tubing, and then on top of that I used the electrical tape just to keep them together. I used the light mostly in the winter. It adds a tiny bit of heat and it adds lighting for them to just to give them light in the evenings before bedtime. You can see the wire I have coming back here. This is also temporary. I'd like to do something better with the wire, but that's not going to happen until I get around to redoing most of the coop, which is probably going to be sometime next year. Okay, you can see the wire is elevated as far as I can take it. Up to this gate that we don't use very often. And then it drops down. And it goes the rest of the way over here to where it's plugged in on the deck. And that's pretty much it for the space. This is our turkey that we did get for free. I know Brandy mentioned that she just showed up randomly one day. We've told our neighbors if someone's missing a turkey, come and get it. It's been weeks now and nobody's come and claimed it. So I guess we have a turkey now. She follows us around like a little dog usually. For the most part, they just want food. They all left.